In terms of starting to train other people and this whole like social media thing, what do you think is the way to help more people now? Like, how do we help people cut through the noise?
Well, it's a real problem to solve because the only thing I've really seen is, you have to educate yourself to be able to cut through the noise, because otherwise you can't tell the difference between the good coaches and the bad coaches online. Like, you don't know the red flags, so to speak. It's no different than anything else. It's like if I and and I had some experience with this recently because I've been doing some home renovations over the quarantine and stuff, and it's like if I call a plumber, I don't know what a good plumber and a bad plumber looks like because I don't do plumbing.
Mm-hmm.
And unless I go and educate myself, like either watch a bunch of different YouTube videos online or God forbid I read a book, until I do that back end work on for myself, I can't tell what's good and what's bad. And I don't know what to do or what people can do other than that. But I think most people are too lazy to do that now. It's like they're already too lazy to exercise. You're gonna ask them to like go
Do
and
some research, yeah.
do
Exactly.
research. So
Now,
what I'm saying is we're all screwed and it's never gonna get any better.
what would you recommend? Like, what? So let's say a friend comes up to you, like, "Oh, I'm looking for a trainer." What would your suggestions be? Like, what should they be looking out for?
They should be looking out for anybody that, well, we're talking like a in-person trainer, online trainer. I should probably
Yeah,
clarify
let's
that.
break it down. Let's say in person first.
In person is pretty easy. I mean, if they don't have a clipboard, they're not keeping track of your workouts, they're not writing your workouts down, they're not timing rest intervals. Um, One thing that's kind of a gray area, but I feel like if they're talking too much, because they're trying to distract you from the bad training. Um, what else? I'm sure there's some others. I have to think harder than usual because I haven't been at work in like 9 months. Used to seeing them at the gym. Oh yeah, if they're just killing you. Like if you're literally dead laying on the floor in a pool of sweat, sort of like CrossFit, it's probably the saying we always use is it was a workout, not a training session, because there's
I
probably
think
not really
that's
a
the
plan.
distinction that we want to really help people understand is that there's a difference between someone trying to give you a really intense workout and somebody who has a whole plan for you where they're sort of plotting out what your future is going to look like.
Yeah, and that's a pretty easy one to gauge because if they have a plan, they're probably not going to make you feel like garbage. Like you can probably walk the next day. You're probably not gonna have to wring out your shirt unless you don't live here in Canada and it's really hot. Because in order to build workout to workout, week to week, month to month, year to year, you usually got to leave a little bit in the tank. So you're not gonna feel like that. That's a big one. But the problem with that is, like we were talking about before, if you're not educated, and we see that all the time at the gym, most people walk in thinking that's exactly what they need and that's what they're looking for. And that's unfortunate because they literally will gravitate towards the worst trainers.
Yeah, because I mean, I think there's a whole thing where they're sort of ready to make changes and they think that's the way. Like, okay, it's time. I need to just kill myself to get back, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, like they need to choose the most intense option that they can. But a lot of times, if you take that and expand it out to something else, something that's not the gym, that's not working out, people you usually see how stupid it sounds. Because it's like, all right, you've been in debt for 10 years, you've been adding 5 pounds of debt, which is like equivalent of, adding 5 pounds of body fat every month. So you've been going $5 in or $5 in debt every month for 10 years, and now you're like 10 grand in debt. And okay, now you're going to get out of that debt. You're just going to start working 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week, 90 hours a week, nonstop. Like, sure, you won't get burnout. That'll work.
That's a really good analogy. I think, like you said, you have to sort of bring it out to a different perspective. Really apply that same filter to other parts of your life, and you realize, why would I be doing it in this one aspect where I would never do that in any other aspect of my life?
Yeah, it's a really weird common thing. I know you see it all the time too. It's like something about the walls of the gym make the rules of the world and the rules of life not apply.
Yeah,
At least a lot of people don't think they do. And it's no, actually, it's the same thing here. If you want to get to be a CEO of a company, you probably got to start somewhere else and build your way up. The same way, if you want to deadlift 500 pounds, where are you now? You need to work from there. You're not going to just slap 500 pounds on the bar and keep trying over and over, and it's not even budging off the ground.
exactly. Now, I think a little bit more challenging issues, like let's say you're online and you're looking at people. What are some, I guess, flags for you? What would you say help you to understand if someone knows what they're talking about versus when they're not, especially when it comes to being online?
If they post anything that is an ass angle, any video or picture, don't use them as a.
So if they're trying to sell like based on their own body, is that what you're saying?
No, well, yes, but I'm trying to simplify it and make more of a joke out of it. Where literally, if they post any video or any picture of them doing anything that is from like the floor angled up at their butt, that's a red flag.
Yeah, especially if they're doing like an upper body exercise or something.
Yeah, or saying, "Hey, look at my new shoes," and it's like from the back, and you
Yeah,
can't see the shoes.
yeah. I think it's
That's a
just
big red.
part of social media in general. I think, but yeah, absolutely.
It is, yeah. But I mean, that's a huge one. It's just like all these. Well, it's basically exactly what you said. Like people are trying to build the efficacy of themselves as a coach based on just what they look like,
Yeah,
right? Whereas like look at your Instagram, like it has nothing to do with you. It's literally you like everything is about your client,
yeah,
right? It's oh look, your client's numbers and they lost 30 pounds and stuff like that. Like that's literal proof. Is what you can do for yourself is not necessarily what you can do for others.
exactly.
So you could say lack of that is a big thing, like not having any proof or records or anything like that online. And I mean, honestly, I almost feel like just Instagram in general is a bad place to try and find an online coach because it's pretty saturated with bad people that don't know what they're doing for the most part. And
Well, if you're
especially
recommending
because
TikTok
how
or
are you
something
really
instead.
gonna? I'm saying just like probably not have an online coach.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you can,
Seriously, man. Yeah, if you can avoid it, or
yeah,
maybe have an online coach from someone you've already met in person, but it just you can't figure out the timing. Because really, if you start thinking about that, going down that rabbit hole, it's like even if you're on Instagram and you're like serious and you really want to find a good online coach, like how are you going to look? Like, are you gonna? The captions aren't the first thing that pops up. The pictures are. So it's like, what are you instinctively gonna look for? You're gonna look for somebody that like is good looking and in shape, or has like, if you're like me and you're looking for strength, a lot of weight on the bar, and it's like, yeah, it's real wishy washy. That's why I haven't done anything with online coaching yet, because it's just like it's a big undertaking.
it is. Yeah, but I think my thought process, at least around that, is that people are going online, they're looking right now, and if that can at least be the better option for some people, then it'll help. But it's a long, slow process trying to convince people that it's more about what we talk about, what we know, rather than what we look like.
Yeah, and that's a that's a really hard conversation to start a like working relationship on. Is like, hey, you don't know, or you don't know what you think you know. You think you know what you're looking for in a coach or whatever, and you really have no idea.
Now
But
with
yeah, booty pics are a big red flag. Lack of any kind of proof of right, working with other clients. And I mean, again, depending on what you're looking for, like I'm more of a powerlifting realm. One easy way is you look at, look at the coach's technique again, but assuming you know what good technique looks like, going back to what we were talking about before, if you haven't done the research or you don't know what good technique looks like on a squat, a deadlift, a bench press, pull up, all that kind of stuff, you can't make that call. But if you know what you're looking for, you can make sure the coach has good technique. If they're reposting any of their clients' videos and stuff, make sure they have good technique.
Yeah, like they know how to distill what they're doing and teach it to other people.
Yeah.